Hey, I'm Blair Best, and tonight on The Story, we begin in southwest Portland, right outside Multnomah County Central Library. It's been a problem spot for years when it comes to homelessness, drug use, and violence. Now, the county is getting involved, calling on the city and police to do more. It's our big story tonight. You've likely seen it for yourself or in the headlines. Open-air drug use happening in and around Multnomah County Central Library in downtown Portland. Staff feeling unsafe and surrounding businesses temporarily closing after a deadly shooting across the street earlier this month. It's clear the public library has turned into a problem spot for the community and a problem spot for Portland police. There's a saying that a public library is a mirror of the community. Well, this reflection isn't looking too pretty. I caught up with Portland Police Commander Brian Hughes earlier today to find out what they've been doing about it.
We've really made an effort over the last year to target drug dealers and people that are coming down to distribute illicit substances in the downtown area. So we've conducted missions, including in the area of the library, where we focus on people that are dealing drugs.
Police shared data with us today comparing the first 5 months of 2024 to the first 5 months of this year, January through May of each year. They say there's been a 550% increase in drug offenses around the Central Library. And while that number seems impressive, the law that repealed Measure 110 didn't take effect until September last year. So, of course, there would be an increase this year since officers were unable to arrest people for drug possession in early 2024. The data goes on to show disorderly conduct calls around the library went up 128% and a 300% increase in trespassing offenses. But despite police efforts, the problem has not gone away. There's still camping, open-air drug use, and at times violence happening in and around the library. Late last week, Multnomah County Commissioner Moyer, who represents District 1, that includes downtown, sent this letter to Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and Police Chief Bob Day, calling for more to be done to keep the community safe. She wrote in part, "Unfortunately, crimes are too often occurring outside the county library, and though they are reported by library staff, Portland police fail to respond. Since we know this area is a hotbed of illegal activity, I ask that PPB station patrol outside the building. I asked Chief Day to provide a clear and specific plan followed by monthly updates. The current strategy of bi-monthly missions and irregular patrols is clearly inadequate."
Well, I just want to say that we are being a good partner, and the bike officers deploy there regularly, and we do maintain a regular presence at the library. But keep in mind, I have the entire downtown Central City core that I'm responsible for and competing priorities, right? And we really want to ensure that, we're providing equal levels of service to the entire downtown area.
Commissioner Moyer also pointed to flaws that she sees in the mayor's plan to address homelessness, saying he is relying too heavily on county libraries to act as day centers. Mayor Wilson responded in this 3-page letter, saying in part that it falls within the county's power to restore safety at the county library. Day centers and sobering and crisis stabilization centers are not a substitute, he says, for deploying basic security procedures at a facility full under the jurisdiction of Multnomah County. Portland police say they will continue to respond to criminal activity at the library, but they can't solve this problem alone. So they sent a list of, quote, common sense recommendations to county staff on what they think the county could do to help. That list includes replacing library security staff with members of the sheriff's office, installing metal detectors, removing outside benches, and eliminating outdoor Wi-Fi.
Ultimately, the goal is to maintain a safe environment for the patrons of the library, the employees that use the library, and then the businesses in the surrounding community.
Now, police, much like Mayor Wilson, say it's the county that could do more, writing, "It is clear that the root of the problem lies in a place-based environment that is permissive and inviting to illegal behavior. The current security posture at the Central Library lacks deterrence and accountability. Without changes from Multnomah County, the environment will remain a magnet for crime, drug use, and disorder." Okay, joining me now live is Multnomah County Commissioner Moyer. Commissioner Moyer, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with Mayor Wilson there. What do you make of him basically saying, since it's a county building, it's the county's job to keep the library safe, not the city's?
Well, I think that's concerning because this is a library and we are a guest in the city of Portland. So we don't have the same jurisdiction if it were somewhere in which the Multnomah County Sheriff is the law enforcement entity. I certainly don't look at the shooting that happened outside of Safeway and say, Safeway, this is your fault. You're completely responsible for fixing that. Multnomah County takes the security at our central library and all of our libraries very seriously. We spend nearly $4 million per year purely on security staff. We've doubled the size of our security staff at Central Library. We have many visible and non-visible approaches. We have no problem excluding people who cannot follow our rules from the library anywhere from a day to 3 years. So absolutely does Multnomah County have a role in making sure that Central Library is a safe, inviting place for everybody. But there's a line that we can't cross because we're not law enforcement. And so all I'm asking and all I am trying to ask of the city of Portland is please help us. The level of support that we are getting, and I thank them for that, needs to be more intense right now. I think my goal is, can we together in collaboration do a joint effort for a prolonged period of time as a reset?
So some people argue that the county-run security at the library is just insufficient for the issues that we're seeing. Have you called on the sheriff's office asking for their help in any of this?
Well, I think, we have to ask questions about who has what jurisdiction and where. Yeah, we could have the sheriff's office. We are equally as stretched as any other law enforcement. But again, this is not our jurisdiction. So it creates issues of if somebody crosses onto the city of Portland's property, our ability to follow through in that situation is very limited. One of the things that I have said, and I will continue to say, is we handle 99% of incidents that go on within the Multnomah County Library. And we de-escalate, we escort people out, we provide emergency services. But for that 1% that really creates a risk to our staff and our patrons, we need to count on Portland police to respond to those incidents. And that has been a challenge for us, where either we get no response or the response time is so lengthy that the people leave the scene.
So let's talk about some of those common sense recommendations that Portland police sent to the county. Will any of them see the light of day? Like, for example, do you think the county will move forward with, say, installing metal detectors?
I don't know about metal detectors. I'm not the decider there, but absolutely. I read that letter. I've had numerous conversations with my colleagues, the chair, the head of the library. Some of those we've already started. We've already limited the number of hours of Wi-Fi, which is hard, and that's sad because I think that was a service to downtown. But I think we're going to do some things that are a little bit uncomfortable. And, we are actively talking about reducing the seating around Central Library, which is, again, sad. It's part of the architecture. It's beautiful, but we may need to take that temporary measure. Again, we doubled the size of our security. We have cameras 24/7 that are watched by a person. So there's a lot of things that people don't see that we are doing. But again, there are instances that are too much. And I think, part of the problem is that there are not a lot of places in central downtown where somebody experiencing homelessness can use the restroom, can get drinking water. And so we end up being a place where people are going who may not be able to abide or are not choosing to abide by our rules. And that's because we are their only option. And so, again, I'm really calling on the city as a partner because, we have to be in this together. help us meet some of these needs. Please don't recommend our libraries as day centers because we don't have the staffing or the resources. We're not a public shower, and yet our restrooms are often used for people to change and take care of cleanliness. We are not able to provide the right level of service if what you really need is a day shelter or day services to help meet those basic human needs.
So let's talk about the mayor's plan to address homelessness. What gaps do you see in it that it pertains to the library? Because I don't think you're alone in thinking a public library is not the best place to have homeless people treated as a day center. I mean, what do you think about the rate at which the mayor is working to open more day centers across the city? I mean, is he going fast enough?
Well, I mean, should be in tandem with the shelters and have been. So I'd love to see that. Also, you know, I have commented that I would have preferred greater geographic diversity in where we have located a lot of our night shelters. There is a significant presence of night shelters in downtown, Old Town area. And yet I don't see a corresponding amount of day services available. He's talking about creating 4 throughout the entire city. And yet I already know of 2 shelters that they've just announced in the downtown area that are opening eminently. So, I really would like us to match the evening shelters with day services in the same geographic area. But I'd also like to see generally services spread out throughout the county.
So you're also asking Portland Police to use the county's Sobering and Crisis Stabilization Center more. For those listening at home who don't know, that's the county-run beds first responders can take people who are under the influence to sober up. So today I asked Commander Hughes why officers don't take people there that often, and I want to play what he said, and then Commissioner Moyer give you a chance to respond. Okay, let's listen.
But we really have to be careful with people that are under the influence of controlled substances, because the staff at the Pathway Center are not armed, and it is not a secure lockdown facility. So somebody's under the influence of methamphetamines is going to be a significant challenge for a center like that to deal with. Yeah, we want to be careful about who we bring over, and it's out of concern for the welfare of the staff that work over.
Okay, Commissioner Moyer, what do you make of that?
I find that ludicrous. These are trained professionals who quite literally are asking for those exact populations to be brought to them. I don't expect police to be behavioral health experts. Obviously, I think the more training they get, the better. But I am respectful that is not their area of expertise. The staff that we have on board on our deflection and sobering center are in fact experts. They have not asked that people not be brought to them because of the substance that they are intoxicated with. And I think it's a really concerning generalization about what danger intoxicated people do or do not pose. Nobody would recommend if they're committing a different crime, say with a weapon, that they be brought to sobering. They don't even qualify. But just having somebody intoxicated is in and of itself not a risk, including methamphetamine. And we responded to what Portland Police asked the county to provide as a resource. And now I'm hearing they don't want to use it because they're worried about our staff. That to me just seems bizarre, since we designed the services based on their input, and they are at every meeting. We have monthly meetings about changing, tweaking, what do we do better? Never have I heard them say that was a concern of theirs.
Okay, Commissioner Moyer, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.
Well, now it's your turn. What do you think needs to be done about safety and security at the Central Library? More from the city or more from the county? Let us know. Email us at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave us a voicemail, 503-226-5090. We're back right after this. Well, big changes are coming to the Portland Public School District. Starting this year, middle school students will be graded differently. Thomas Schultz tells us how the move is changing report cards and homework.
Some things are constant for middle schoolers. There's math class, gym class, and report cards. Though soon, grading could change.
The grade book is going to look different.
Melissa Sabga is a math teacher at Robert Gray Middle School. This year, middle schoolers across Portland Public will be graded on a new system. Report cards won't be rated A through F. Homework won't be graded either.
I personally love it.
It's called standards-based grading, where grades are based on knowledge of material.
It gives very specific information to parents on where students are doing well and where they need more work.
Here's how it works. Instead of a kid getting an 89 in English, grades are more specific. Maybe a student is highly proficient in reading, but lacking in writing.
And you can really see where the gaps are and where the learning is.
Micah Yai is a Lewis and Clark education professor. She wrote a book about this model.
It's very clear where students know things.
Other districts are using standard-based grading too. Beaverton uses the model because it assesses student progress and provides timely feedback.
There's much more fine grain, so you can see where you need to do your instruction.
Still, it's an idea national outlets like the New York Post blasted 2 years ago when PPS announced the change. Critics say it fails kids who need help. PPS declined our interview request. And while teachers say homework isn't graded, kids do take assessments to show what they've mastered.
It's much more equitable for all kids, really.
As a sixth grade teacher, I think it's better for students.
In Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Well, this past Saturday marked the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, promising equal access for all. But across the country, millions still face daily barriers. Tonight, Rachel Kim shows us how frustration is fueling the fight for equality.
Wait.
Ableism
to me means being left out, being disregarded, and being made to feel like less than a person. My name is Tanisha Sulova. I was born and raised in Washington State, and I am a disability mobility advocate. My younger brother, Namas, he's also a wheelchair user. My younger brother, he has cerebral palsy and autism. I did care for him when I was younger. It helped desensitize me to disabilities, knowing that these things are parts of people's everyday lives. But when I was that young, I didn't notice a lack of accessibility in the world. July 8th, 2010, there's about a group of 8 of us. We decided to make a trip up to Golden Gardens, and there's a big swing. Once we jump out, my forehead met with the side of the hill and snapped my head back. My current condition would be described as a high-level spinal cord injury. Before my injury, I was very independent, living by myself. At that time, I wanted to be a baker. Having experience with disability through my younger brother to now me being disabled and using a power wheelchair every day, it just becomes extremely noticeable where things have needed to improve.
ADA will be a landmark first civil rights law for people with disabilities by any major nation.
The Americans with Disabilities Act passed in 1990.
What do we want? Access! When do we want it? Now!
It was a landmark piece of civil rights legislation.
I now lift my pen to sign this Americans with Disability Act.
It prohibits discrimination in all areas of public life, including education, transportation, accessibility in places of public accommodation, communication, and employment.
To me, the ADA means access to opportunities. I was able to go to school. I'm able to work with accommodations.
Despite the progress of the ADA, important gaps still remain. This includes a lack of proactive enforcement, slow and inconsistent resolution processes, public transit accessibility, digital accessibility, employment discrimination, small business and architectural barriers, housing and public space inaccessibility, shortcomings in the education system, healthcare access disparities, and intersectional inequities.
Another bar that the ADA fails to hit is taking into account people with other types of disabilities.
So the biggest challenge with the ADA really has to do with education and awareness. Ableism is words or actions that imply people with disabilities are lesser, less valued, less appreciated, less capable.
Everyday ableism I've experienced is infantilization. People will talk to people with disabilities as if they're a child.
Ableism is a roadblock for the ADA because it enforces cultural stereotypes and misperceptions of people with disabilities.
After my injury, there were many challenges navigating the built environment, especially when it came to sidewalk.
This curb cut doesn't necessarily align with either crossing.
The lack of curb cuts being prevalent, and also sidewalks being in poor condition. I've been very vocal about as a wheelchair user. It shows where we're lacking as far as accessibility. What's challenging with and improving accessibility, most of the people who are in charge of making those decisions are not disabled, so they have no idea the variables and the complexity, the nuance of it. things need to change. People made it this way and did not take into account the needs of people with disabilities. Advice I would give to someone with a disability would be to keep your head up. There will always be times where you feel defeated. Don't let that keep you down. And definitely get involved with a community support group because they have the resources, they have the knowledge and experience to help you.
I think so.
Life is not as limited as what we think.
Well, that is the end of our show, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Straight Talk is coming your way next. And don't forget, everyone has a story to tell. Have a great Monday night. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night at 6:30.